Let's offer you a good alternative to rice. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Input English. We're here in the kitchen and we're going to have a short video today on a really good alternative to rice. Rice is used the world over as a staple, as a food for all the meals of the day. And I'm not here to criticize rice. I'm just offering an alternative. So rice the world over comes in a lot of different varieties. White rice is the most common in the United States, and there are different sub-varieties of the white rice. But white rice is refined. Brown rice is the whole grain version, and then there are varieties that are very interesting like black rice or forbidden rice and red rice. And these last two are fascinating. I like them, I fix them, we eat them. They're not on trial here, but they're also not the subject of this video. Brown rice is super common, and really it is a whole grain. So if somebody is trying to adhere to a whole food, plant-based eating plan, then brown rice would work for that. Now, if you read up on brown rice, internet has a lot of information on it. One of the criticisms that has been leveled against brown rice is its arsenic content. Arsenic is a heavy metal, and humans don't tolerate heavy metal very well at all. It's quite toxic. So it's not like brown rice has been banned or taken off the market. People have to make choices as to whether they want that arsenic intake as a part of their diet. And in general, I would prefer not to do that. There's some disadvantages to having a lot of arsenic in your diet, for sure. So what I came upon, and I'm not the inventor of this, I'm just promoting it as a good alternative, is whole grains that can be cooked as if they were rice. Because brown rice is a whole grain, and you can cook that in a pressure cooker or in a rice cooker, and you can do the same thing. So what I have here is 4 different grains that are very, very well suited to this purpose, to make a grain course for a meal. So this is whole grain oats, otherwise known as oat groats. This is whole grain barley. This is farro. So farro is an ancient wheat. And then this is rye. I source these all organic in bulk, and they're all whole grains. Now you could pick any of the 4 and cook them in a pressure cooker or cook them in a rice cooker and have a fine whole grain part of a meal that would be just fabulous. And I've done that. However, a much more interesting, my opinion, a much more interesting approach is to mix all 4 of these because they have subtly different textures and flavors, and these 4 play well together. So what I did is I put a 1/4 cup of oats, a 1/4 cup of barley, a 1/4 cup of farro, and a 1/4 cup of rye in a cup, and it totals a cup. So now I'm going to rinse that off to get rid of the dust and, just to make it ready to cook. So I'm just going to give it a quick rinse at the sink. That mixture is now in the pressure cooker. This is an Instant Pot. It's a relatively small 5.2 quart Instant Pot. Now you can do this same recipe on the stovetop. I've never done that, owing to my fundamental impatience, because this is much quicker. Or you could do a different fire and forget, which is put it in a rice cooker and let it do its automatic cycle, and it'll keep it warm after it's done. So that's a way to set it, forget it, walk away from it, go do something else, and then come back and it's ready. So now I've got the grain in here, but I don't have any water in here. So I have pre-measured 1 1/3 cups. So my ratio for the pressure cooker is 1 to 1 1/3. And you can change that ratio. This is not chiseled in granite. You can change it to what suits you. More water will make it softer, and less water will make it firmer. So you decide. My observation is in a rice cooker, because of the nature of rice cookers, they're not closed containers, pressurized, they take more water. So if I was going to make this in a rice cooker, I would do a 1 to 2 ratio. But for a pressure cooker, 1 to 1.3 works out really good. And your experience may be different. You may have to adjust the water. Now, I'm not going to add salt to this. Some people would. I'm not a big fan of salt added to food for the health consequences of adding salt, but I'm not the salt police, so I'm not going to get real fussy about what other people do. So here's the lid to the pressure cooker. And it's all set up. Now I have to set it. And so pressure, it's already set on 30 minutes, and I hit the start button. It's going to comp to pressure, and then it's going to start a timer, and it's going to stay at pressure for 30 minutes, and then it's going to give us an electronic signal. When that signal goes off, you have a choice. You could say, aha, I'm going to release the pressure, and there's a switch on the top right here to do that. Okay. The alternative would be to let the pressure come down by itself. So for this recipe, it's an immediate pressure release. You just flip it and the pressure vents out of the top of the pressure cooker and you're ready to serve. It's super quick. With whole grains, it works great. With beans, if you cook beans in a pressure cooker, don't do that. The reason you don't want to do that is beans, the liquid around the beans now has, after it's cooked, has a lot of proteinaceous material in it, a lot of stuff in that water. And if you do an immediate release on beans, it's going to foam, and then the foam is going to get involved in this valve, and basically it's going to spatter paint the ceiling of your kitchen. So assuming you don't want bean juice on your kitchen, don't do an immediate release on beans. But we're not cooking beans today. We are cooking whole grains as an alternative to brown rice. So this is started. No sense in sitting here watching it cook. When it gives us the signal that it's done, we'll get back together and I'll show you the final result. Okay, we're back. So the pressure cooker, the Instant Pot, has done its job, and it has timed off the 30 minutes at pressure, and it's still pressurized. So since this is rice, I can just hit that switch and it does an immediate venting. I would never do that with beans. No, no, no. So this takes but a minute, a little bit of time. You got to be careful with this steam because you can get severely burned by steam. So you have to respect it. So the pressure is released and the lid is off and we're done. So we have finished our preparation. This is not rice, but anything you want to do that would require rice, this will usually substitute rather nicely. This goes well with things like palak paneer. It goes very well with bangan barta. Basically, anytime you think about serving something with rice, you could substitute this, and people will like it. Its texture is a little firmer than brown rice sometimes, It has a nuttier flavor, and I just prefer it. From a nutrient point of view, this is fine. There's no downside to this. This is not processed food. This is a whole food that you've prepared, and it's good for you. Now, one of the things you did not see me do is put junk on this. I didn't put butter on it or salt or anything like that. This doesn't need any additional flavoring. But obviously, if you serve it with palak paneer or bangan barta, that sauce will mix very well with this. But I don't need to mess it up by adding butter to it. I'm also not the butter police, so in your own home, you can do anything you want. That's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you found it interesting. And we invite you to come back and see us in a future video. So long.